I wanted to start talking about Halifax a little bit because I know like you spend a lot of time here. Would it be safe to almost say this is almost like a second home for you?
Well, the East Coast has certainly provided a lot of fun and comfort for us. So yes, we've I've been out there so many times this year, uh, you know, playing with my own band, playing with the trio, playing with the rodeo, playing canso, playing oh my God, playing banyan. It's been great. I mean, I've developed quite a few friends out there, so it's very nice, and it's different. The East Coast is different, and I love it for that.
As an outsider, what is the difference? Can you quantify it?
Sure. I mean, I come from the detested, unfriendly Toronto, where what we get used to is, you'll be lucky if somebody lets you in traffic. That seems like that's an enormous act of kindness. In the East Coast, and I'm including Newfoundland in this, you shouldn't be surprised if somebody offers to lend you their car. Say, oh, you have to get there. Oh, well, then take my car. Like, take your car? You don't even know me. And the level of trust and comfort with each other and friendliness is unparalleled. And I think if you recommend that to somebody, they come back and say, that was really true.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I think the last time you were in town was Juno's,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
which
Oh, that was good.
well, so here's the thing. I heard whispers in the halls of the music people around here that there was some legendary jam session
Mm.
that took place in a hotel. What do you remember and what can you tell me about that since
Oh, I
I was
remember
not
remember
there?
everything. I'm so not a drinker and player. You know what? For years, we my sons and I and Brad Delgarno, former NHL with the Islanders, we all came to the Junos, and we were kind of sanctioned by Caris to create a hockey game, create a Juno Cup. And then we added this jam suite where musicians could come after hours, after they're done all their obligations, come, and there was a big circle around a piano, and everybody just jammed, and it was very cool. There was no pictures, no, they didn't have to worry about anything. And so this year we were not sanctioned by the Junos, but we decided to do it anyway. Brad Delgarno is a master at accumulating sponsorship. So we had the Jam Suite was sponsored. We got Classified organized a hockey game for us. We usually do an evening, the Thursday evening, we go to a bar and we get a house band, and then we get as many people as we can play, and that money goes to the local food bank. So we did that at the Carlton, and so it just couldn't have been better. And I guess we'll continue as long as Brad can arrange those sponsorships. And yeah, and the Jam Suite kind of goes midnight to 5 a.m. and it's really a place for people that are playing or attending the having some function in the Junos to come and relax and not feel like they're under the microscope. And we have some, I mean, amazing music played. Amazing.
Well, that was going to be my next question is like, what is played? Like, does someone, you're in the room, does someone go, I'm going to do Blue Rodeo tune? Or is it like, we
No.
doing Beatles songs? Or like, what are we
Oh
doing
yeah.
in this jam set?
Mostly it's covers. Mostly
Yeah.
people are doing covers. And we've had full groups come in. We've had individuals, people doing R&B set. I mean, one of the great ones was in maybe Edmonton, and somebody came in and did one of the R&B singers came in and did Valerie, and my son played it. It's amazing. A lot of it's old timey country songs and novelty songs, and then it just branches out with whoever comes. We've had a gospel uh, song played with a little bit of jazz. Obviously, sometimes when Ann Lindsay's there, some violin. Sometimes we've had three violins playing. You never know, but we're everybody's adaptable to figure out something to play.
That's incredible. Like I'm very jealous. I missed that somehow. I really wish I could have even heard just a drop of that. Obviously Juno's accolades, but you guys are getting another one this year, you and Greg,
Mhm.
with the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So in a career of accolades, where does this one rank for you?
Well, I think that because this one is really just for Greg and I, we have very gratefully shared all the accolades that have come our way with all the members of the band and our management. And but fundamentally, and the way we started was as songwriters. I wrote a song. Well, play it for me. Okay, we'll play along. Okay, you wrote a song. I'll play. So there's something um, very gratifying about being acknowledged as songwriters in a country this big, full of so many amazing songwriters. And it was the one time that Greg and I actually phoned each other and gave each other a pat in the back. Because usually we try to just old time hockey, don't celebrate your goals.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, it was funny. I was talking and mentioning to somebody, and they were like, "What? They're not in there already?" Like, because
But
when you
look who we're
talk
going in
about,
with. Yeah, we're going in with Sarah McLaughlin, Tom Cochran, and Diane Tell, who I've just learned about. I mean, those are pretty successful and accomplished songwriters. So either I don't believe we've ever been asked. So we're going in when we're asked. But I can't believe Sarah and Tom were not asked. I don't know about Diane Tell.
it is funny, like, and you mentioned like the great Canadian songwriters. There's been a litany of them,
Mm.
and now you get to join. I mean, not that you weren't already in that pantheon, but now it's like officially recognized, I guess.
Now I'm sure we get some kind of badge or medal. Like, we got to wear something.
You got to have something. There's going to be a
There's got
jacket,
There's got to be
like every
some.
other Hall of
Yeah,
Fame gets a
that's
jacket
right.
or
It's got to
something.
be a
Come on.
jacket or a bust, maybe a double bust.
Oh, there you go. I like that too. And again, like you mentioned, Sarah McLaughlin going in. She's originally from Halifax, and then I saw the performer list has Matt Mays and Adam Baldwin. Um, are like we can't get away from the Halifax Blue Rodeo. Greg, Jim Cuddy, Greg Keeler connection here. Uh, are they doing Blue Rodeo tunes? Because I was looking to see who's performing what, and it didn't say.
Oh, it doesn't say? Okay,
It
so then I
doesn't
probably
say.
can't say. But yes, they'll be doing Blue Rodeo tunes.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think Sarah's doing one. Uh, we just played with Matt and Adam, right, at the amphitheater last week, and it was kind of funny, kind of horrifying funny because two of them had COVID before they came.
Oh no.
So, oh yeah, they were okay, they were fine, but we treated them honestly like they were the toxic twins. It's like can't go anywhere near us. We all get up together, lost together at the end of the night, and at the end of the night, there was me on a mic, and there was all of Matt's band on one mic. I kept saying to Adam, "Oh man, I really like you. I hope you survive. I hope you'll be all right."
He's such a good dude. Like Adam's such
Oh,
a salt of the earth guy.
that all the guys in that band, they're just absolutely fantastic. That was one of the greatest things about being in Halifax was because my son Devin especially is good friends with Adam, and just sort of being in Adam's life, going to where he has his piano gig, and he lent us his piano. It was like this gigantic this concert piano that maybe Elton John would play. And he wheels into our room. I was like, dude, this is just a jam suite. But just going where Adam went was he's an amazing guy.
He really is, and East Coast royalty at this point. It
Mm,
really is.
deserves it.
100%. Yeah. And Matt too. I feel like I'm selling Matt short.
Sure.
I've known Matt
Yeah.
for years, and I don't want to sell Matt short either. He's a great guy too.
Agreed. Agreed.
Um, and I touch on your new album a little bit. All the World Fades Away. This one kind of took a little while because the first song that's on it was 2020.
Mm.
And then I know like the other job pulled you away. How was it taking that kind of time for an album? Because the first one was kind of almost like a COVID song,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
it's
you're
true.
finishing up the album maybe in a different headspace. So how was that for
Yeah.
you?
Well, it was very unusual. I've never done it before. I mean, I started writing the record because Blue Rodeo was sort of on break by the time the pandemic happened. And we really thought that, okay, we'll lose our winter shows, but the summer will happen. And then it went on. So I just started writing and then I started recording, but recording with that isolation protocol, just go upstairs, test one person at a time. And I got about two-thirds of the way through, and then Greg called me and said, we should use this time to make a Blue Rodeo record. So I just put a dead stop on my record, wrote for the Blue Rodeo record, recorded the Blue Rodeo record, toured the Blue Rodeo record, and then got back to my own record. And I would say that the thing I had to do was I had to write the rest of the record. The first part of the record, I had so much time. We have a little farm north of the city, and I was up there for days on end, and I had no no demands. I had no schedule. I could just work on songs gradually. And then, of course, to finish the record, maybe the last third, I had to get at it. I think that I already knew what I was doing, so at that point, it was fine. It occurs to me, it didn't seem so weird making the record. It seemed weird when we went to play the record, and then I realized that these songs are not in any way in anybody's mind. We had to sit with Basil, the bass player, and say, "You got to learn all this stuff, and it's from 3 years ago." I'm sorry. So it was all starting again, but now we've done enough that it's normalized. But yeah, it was very unusual. It was very unusual.
And you mentioned that like getting the call, like, hey, let's do a Blue Rodeo album. How is it for you? Like, how do you decide when you're writing? This is a Jim Cuddy song. This is a Blue Rodeo song, or is it just happenstance? Like,
No, no happenstance. It was writing on demand. Like I never want to be, I never want to be compromised by thinking I kept something back that I could have given to Blue Rodeo, or that I gave them something I wanted for myself. So as soon as Greg said, let's do a Blue Rodeo record, I stopped all things on my own record. And I think I took one song from that I'd written for Blue Rodeo, and then I wrote the rest for Blue Rodeo at the time. And then when I went back, when I knew I was done with the Blue Rodeo stuff, I went back. So I'm never really overlapped. It works for me because when I'm writing for Blue Rodeo, I'm writing with a lot of different individuals in my head, with Greg and the musicians. And when I'm writing for myself, I'm really, really writing just with my own voice in my head. So I think that certainly the way this one ended up, the Blue Rodeo songs are a little more imaginary. My own songs are a little bit more autobiographical.
I mean, and it's amazing that you can make that very clear distinction. Like to me in my head, I'd be like, oh, maybe this one's, I'd be maybe a
Mm.
little bit more jumbled with it. Have the guys ever come to you and heard like a solo song? Like you've got some great ones on this new album, like Learning to Live Alone and stuff like that. Have they ever said like, hey, that could have been an us tune?
I mean, they might say it to each other, but they don't say it to me.
Okay, that's
So
good.
no, I think we have an agreement just in for everybody, because I was thinking recently that, okay, so I'm going to go on tour. It's going to take up most of the fall. And it's not like the rest of the guys in Blue Rodeo are going to do nothing. They're going to go back to doing all kinds of endeavors that they do when they're not required to play with Blue Rodeo. Greg will probably do some more recording. Jimmy Bosco runs a studio. Glenn plays in a million bands. So, I mean, I take two of them anyway, but uh, but it's a good thing that everybody has some individual projects so that the break from Blue Rodeo is not just rest, because that's not really what we're looking for. It's a complete change of pace, different music, different individuals. So it's a good thing, and um, I I've never had any grief from the guys in the band. I mean, Greg started it. Okay, he's the first one that did a
Yep.
solo record. I only did a solo record as a defensive measure. I thought, oh, I guess I better do this. He might not come back. So, and then everybody did them. So it's a very healthy thing that everybody has outside projects.
Yeah, and I think putting it that way, it's like then when the band does come back together to do a Blue Rodeo thing, it's a want, not a need.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that I think everybody then does their best work, right? Because there's no pressure,
I
as it were.
agree. And
Like
also, yeah, and everybody gets treated like kings in Blue Rodeo. And when we all go back to our own stuff, not quite the same level of comfort, So everybody's quite appreciative of like, oh, look at this spread. And oh, this is my hotel room. Nice.
uh, another East Coast connection. I noticed there's two videos so far off the new album, both directed by Jen Grant. Um, what does Jen bring to your music visually for you?
Jen is as you all know, Jen is a bit of magic. I mean, she and Dan do everything at their little cottagey home. And it sort of started when I came out and she sang on Scars and she said, "Why don't we make a video out here?" Dan's got the camera with it. So went out and they just did some filming in the afternoon and she put together a video and I thought, wow, that's really good. Why don't you do another one? Anyway, it's turned into all the videos from this record have been done by Jen, and they're all coming out gradually. But I think she will end up having done five. She's
Oh wow.
very creative. She's very, very to work with. She's so enthusiastic. You just feel great working with her, and she's just really good. And her brother is a DP, so sometimes he works, or one of his colleagues works with her, or Dan. She edits. She adds um, some other elements, and she just I don't know, she just does a beautiful job, and it's really nice to have that. It's nice to have a friend be that component of our work, because sometimes when you're just working with a company you don't know, um, they're not, once it's about halfway through, there's not a lot you can do. And I've certainly seen videos and I thought that's not what I imagined, but okay, here we go. But with Jen, I've liked everything she's done. I like the on the ground kind of filming, not too hoity-toity, and like I said, she's very creative. So it's been a wonderful collaboration. And I also, even just getting emails from Jen is a blast.
Well, and that's I've never gotten an email from Jen, so I can't speak on that one. But I was gonna say, watching the videos, I kind of had the same reaction that you had from just someone watching and listening to the music. Was these connect? These make sense. Where sometimes you watch a video and you're like, okay, this was an idea over here, and the song was an idea over here,
Yeah,
and they put them together for some reason, but it's not quite the chocolate and the peanut butter combo that they thought it was going to be. Whereas
exactly right. Yeah,
watching those videos, they really connected really, really well.
I, I,
Not,
I agree. I agree. I think
learning
she
to
does.
live.
Yeah.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say, sorry, I was gonna say, learning to live alone. Not gonna lie, maybe a little teary eyed by the end of that video. Not gonna lie.
Oh, that's good. That's good. No, Jen's all heart and soul, and it's wonderful. And I have to talk her into being in the videos. Like, you should stick your head in. No, they don't want me. Jen, come on. You're Jen Grant, for God's
Yeah.
sake.
And I'll ask, since we're on the topic of Jen Grant. Obviously, you're going to be here the 21st, Saturday, at Rebecca Cohen. Any chance that some of our East Coast friends are popping by?
Well, I certainly hope Jen's in town. She's a very busy schedule, and
Mhm.
I know that she's just come back from a summer of disconnectedness in PEI. So I hope so. I hope so.
Nice. I wanted to shift a little bit to some Blue Rodeo stuff as well. Just because I saw you guys are doing a cruise. Like, most of the time, I think when people hear
Mm,
like a band and a cruise, they think Kiss. So
yeah.
I don't quite picture the Blue Rodeo cruise as the Kiss cruise,
Mm,
but
yeah.
how did this come up? And you're helping PEI hospice
Right.
with this.
So I have done a couple of these. It's a Stewart Travel out of PEI. Very nice people. And they asked me if I wanted to come, and I bring my two sons and Ann Lindsay. And these are river cruises, not ocean cruises. So these are very small boats. It's just like 125 people. And I did the Seine, and then I did uh, the Danube, and they're fantastic. I mean, as long as everybody's comfortable being on a ship together, it's very like I can't go open sea. I get seasick like right away. So I'm a river guy. Just like nice cruise. Everybody's great. The one that was along the Seine went up to all the first and second World War memorials, which were way more moving than I ever had imagined. And so they asked Blue Rodeo if they wanted to do it. So I sat the guys down and I said, look, this is not, like, you don't have a separate dressing room. You have your room and you'll be very comfortable, but we're all together. So you have to appreciate that there's no changing that. You can't like get off the boat and get away from everybody. And they all said they wanted to do it. And so we did like Christmas markets down I guess, where did we do? I guess we did the Danube, right? Anyway, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So fine, we're gonna do one again. They're not money makers, but they're fun. Like, we just play acoustically and meet people. People are really there for music. It's very uh, very encouraging, playing for people that really want to hear music. We do a little songwriters session, talk about songs. So it's a very enjoyable um, event. And I mean, you get to see beautiful things. I think the Blue Rodeo one goes anyway. I think it goes Prague or no, Budapest. I think we
Yes.
start or end in Budapest. I was like, yeah, there's no downside to this. So it's really nice. I'm doing one in the fall that's down the road. So it's through Burgundy. And I'm a
Oh,
big
nice.
wine guy, so it's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
be,
there, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. My
anyway,
wife,
and it's great. Yeah, sorry.
no, I was gonna say my wife and I were looking at last night where it was going. We were like, oh, that would be incredible. And then like on top of that, you get Blue Rodeo on this beautiful cruise. You get Blue
Yeah,
Rodeo.
yeah.
So
It'll
yeah,
be
that's
nice.
fantastic. And like you said, you can't just get off. So captive audience as well. Like they're they're
They they can't get away from us. Yeah, that's for sure.
and this year, obviously an anniversary year for Blue Rodeo. It's the like 40th anniversary of the band. Um, any plans that we haven't heard of as of yet? Like,
I think there are tons of plans. I got a whole list today of things that are happening. So it's next year. I think it's really like February 7th is 40 years to the day of
okay.
when our first gig was. And so yeah, there's going to be a lot of plans. There's going to be a lot of plans. It'll be a busy year as again.
Yeah, it's never not, right? Like,
No, no, there doesn't seem to be any down years anymore. Well, we did have 2 years off or 2.5 years off, so nobody
yeah,
wants to risk
it's
it.
so funny if you look back on that, right? Everybody can like, when do we get back to normal? When do we get back to normal? And now that we're back to normal, everybody's like, if only we had some downtime. And I know it was
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
pandemic, it wasn't like
yeah,
just downtime, but still, it was like we had
yes.
some reflecting time, and I don't think maybe we took advantage of it.
I feel like I did.
Well, yeah,
I feel like I did. I think it was good. It was good for us as a band because it gave us a kind of pause that we would never have allowed ourselves to take. And yet we got work done and we did a lot of filming online stuff. And so we kept our hand in music, but so for us it was okay. It was not great, but it was
no,
okay.
yeah,
And I understand it was very difficult for people, and it's hard to be casual about something that actually cost people their lives. So I wouldn't be I'm not being insensitive, but
no, not at all. Like
yeah,
and that's the thing. It's one of those things you talk about it, and it's this thing in the rearview mirror now, but it happened,
yeah.
and really terrible things happened during that
Hmm.
time as well. And it's weird the way we look at it now.
Hmm. Well, it's also strange that when you're counting time and you say, well, I guess we haven't been here, and then you think I got to add 3 years. So
Right.
I haven't been here for 5 years. I haven't seen you in 3 years. And so, I mean, that's happened to everybody. Everybody stood still for, well, close to 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And so, which is even incredible to think that, because I remember when it started, we thought it would be months because here in Toronto, we had SARS, right? We had
Mhm.
SARS and that lasted a few months, contained in the hospital, big concert, over. So we kind of thought that's what it would be again. So amazing that everybody just dropped out for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and now I think there's a little bit too subconsciously. I don't think anybody said, but like when I see concerts and events, like people are flocking to them. It's almost like trying to make up for the
Mm-hmm.
time that we were in that lockdown stage.
I agree. I certainly see it happening too.
One more thing I'll hit on. I know just so that people know, when you're in town on this Saturday, September 21st, you're also doing a signing.
All right. So yeah, I'm going to do some Indigo signing of the record, play a couple songs, answer a few questions, sign a few records. I think I'm doing that across the country. So, you
Okay.
know, might as well take the opportunity to uh to meet a few people and get some records in people's hands, Seems
Yeah,
like a good idea.
I would agree. Really looking forward to having you in town on again September 21st. Thank you so much for taking time today, and hopefully I'll see you when you're in town.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.